What's going on, YouTube? Brian here with Michigan Kicks. Welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be doing a video just basically surrounding the idea of being a full-time reseller and how to do it in the least amount of time per day, right? So I've been able to knock all my stuff down, my whole 8 to 10 hour usual day into 4 hours, give or take, right? So I want you guys to think outside the box. A lot of times I think we hear, full time, and we automatically think, that's 8 hours a day, 40 hours a week, whatever, 50 hours a week. And the whole purpose of t- going down this career path and choosing to do this type of work and being an entrepreneur and working for yourself is to be able to have the freedom to schedule your own hours. And it took me a while to figure that out, right? So I there was a point in time while I was doing this, it was probably about 6 months ago, that I really started to notice that I didn't have any time. All of my time, every day, all day, was dedicated to my business and building my business. And don't get me wrong, I'm not saying you shouldn't in the beginning, right? You have to do whatever it takes, you have to make sacrifices. But once you're able to get a good footing and a good foundation and have your processes and your systems down, you can really start to take a look at your business as a whole and where you can cut things, where you can um, squeeze things down in less time, making it more efficient, right? That's the idea, is to become as efficient as possible so you can free up those other hours to grow the business. So right now, currently, I spend about probably 3 to 4 hours a day um, prepping, listing, shipping my shoes. And now that is, it's in the beginning for somebody that's, just starting out and is listing a couple things a day. That's a lot of time, right? So I'll just give you a breakdown. I list Right now, I'm doing about 10 pairs of shoes per day. I go back and forth between 10 and 30, but we're doing about 10 pairs right now. So that's including cleaning them. I clean all my pairs first. It's part of my prep work. We want to do that. You want to look them over. You want to inspect them and make sure there's no rips, tears, anything that the consumer is going to look at and say, yeah, I don't want to buy that, right? So I won't even sell stuff like that, right? Every once in a while, if it's a nice pair of shoes and it has a defect, like a little tiny pinhole in it or something like that, I will make the judgment call as to whether to sell it or not, okay? So you want to make sure that you're always inspecting your inventory, and, that shouldn't take very long. So, you have your 10 shoes, you clean them. All right, I clean them at home, I take them to the store, I list them. I have my little listing area right here. I even got a pair of shoes up there right now. They're actually still drying from me cleaning them. So just to give you guys an idea, I'll list them. I have a retail storefront, so after I list those shoes, instead of taking them to my storage unit or my garage or my spare room or wherever it is you guys store your inventory, I just price the bottom of the shoe. I put my prices on there, and then I go ahead and take it out and put it on our floor out here for sale. Um, but we want to become more efficient at that, right? So I just wanted to stress that today, being able to look at your business as a whole, right? Because a lot of us aren't in a place where we can hire, one, two, three people to help us out. So we need to be able to maximize our time. All right. So what number one thing that mistake, I guess I should say, that I made in the beginning was I was paying way too much attention to details. Okay, now when I say details, I mean like getting every shoe completely spotless and taking the most perfect pictures and having the best description and all these things. And it really adds up, and you don't really notice how much time it's adding on to your day until you sit down and really think about it, right? And that's what I did, and it was a lot. It was a lot of time that I was spending doing all these things. So I did a little experiment. I just kind of backed off with that. I didn't become careless, but I also didn't. I met in the middle. I found a middle ground where I was making, I was cleaning the shoes pretty good, right? There was some spots on there that, I was gonna have to spend 15 minutes on to clean, depending on the kind of shoes and how expensive they are. I would typically spend time to get that out. Now I'm just moving on to the next shoot, right? So it's cutting a lot of time off that way. On my photos, I sell the same products, guys. I take the same photos, the same positions, and then I always take a couple pictures if there's any defects that stand out that I think that the consumer should be able to see in the photos. So I do that, right? The pictures have to be good, but they don't have to be perfect. The only things that you really, really need to know, and I can't stress this enough, is you need to know your product, right? You need to be able to price it well and photograph it well, right? The pictures don't have to be perfect, but you have to show the product. If you show the product well and you describe the product well and you price the product well competitively, right? It will sell every time. It does not matter if you have a 2.5 paragraph description and eBay for that. You don't need that. All right. I used to have this long thing I do, and I'd put what I guess the tread life was and a 9 out of 10 scale, and then the model number and all that. And you know what, honestly, I mean, those of you who are watching that right now, how many of you even read the descriptions on the items? Not many, right? I actually happen to be one of those people that do, but there's a lot of people out there that don't. They're looking at the pictures, for shoes, for example, they're looking at the shoe, the size, the style, and the condition, and then the price. And if all those things line up, then they'll buy it, right? So you want to become more efficient in the fact that you don't want to spend so much time with the details, okay? Just find a good product, price it well, and put it out there for the world to see it, and it will sell every time, I promise, okay? The next thing I want to talk about is where are you executing your processes, right? So I have my business here, my storefront, and I have home. Those are my two locations, all right, that I can utilize. So I utilize my house for the prep work. I just do all the prep work there, right? Because I'm there the most. Whenever I'm bored, I might clean a few pairs, but in the morning, typically, I'll sit down for about an hour and I'll clean the pairs that I want to clean for the day. I might re-glue some stuff, I might paint some stuff, but I'm prepping my stuff. I'm prepping my inventory to go up for sale. So, um, if you have two separate places, okay, you really need to be careful at what you're utilizing each one for, okay? So it would make great sense for me to clean the shoes here. However, I'm not here that often. Why I'm here, I shouldn't say that. When I'm here, I'm busy doing other things, all right? I am not going to be in the back cleaning shoes. When I have customers on the floor, I have people coming in bringing me shoes. I'm talking to people on my phone. There's just a lot going on. So I chose to do the cleaning at my house because that's where it's the quietest. It is the most mundane and boring task of this. Okay, nobody likes this part of it, the prepping work, but it is one of the most important. So I needed to utilize a space that was conducive to that. So you don't want to have 6 different locations where you're doing this here, this here, this here, this there. So if you can do it all from one place, perfect. Okay. I do it from 2 places, like I said. I do all my selling here. I do all my listing here. I do all my shipping here. And that's that. And it's allowed me to become more efficient. All right. Maybe in the future, if I ever get a bigger space that has a little better area, and maybe I can hire somebody, I could, maybe clean shoes here as well. But for now, this is what works for me. You got to find out what works for you, okay? Even if you're working in the same location, you don't want stuff in 17 different rooms, okay? You don't want to have to be going downstairs and upstairs. Put it all in one central location and almost try and think of it as an assembly line, okay? So I'll have one bucket of dirty shoes. I'll have my table where I'm cleaning them. On this side, I have an empty bucket. I grab the shoes, I clean them, I put them in the empty bucket, and I repeat that process until I'm done. I take the bucket, I put it in my car, I drive to my store, I photograph, I list, and then I put it out on the floor, and I sit back and I watch it sell. Okay, guys? So it's important to remember that. Just these little things like where am I doing my work, okay? And what intensity am I doing it, right? That's goes back to the attention to details, right? So you're gonna be able to knock time off in those 2 areas for sure, okay? And then the last part that I wanted to touch on today was storage, okay? So you have your prep work, you have your systems, and then you have your storage. So we all sometimes forget about, okay, where am I gonna put all this shit? All right. And if you ask my wife, she's not here now, but you guys will meet her down the road. She can testify. I did not think this through. Okay. So we started operating out of our 2 bedroom house, and it was okay for a while in the beginning. Now, this was like 3.5 years ago, and things were, slow. I wasn't buying that much stuff. I also wasn't buying shoes. I was buying a lot of random stuff. And that room, our second bedroom, started to fill up quick. Okay, so it filled up really quick, and then we turned a corner. I can't remember at what point, but it was too much. All right, we then had to find a storage unit. Okay, and for some reason where we live, there's plenty of storage units, but they're all full. So you had to get on waiting lists. Finally, eventually, one opened up for us, and we had to take it. We had no other choice, right? I wasn't even able to expand my. It was like 3 months that I was waiting for the storage unit, and I really wasn't able to take my business to the next level and let it scale because I couldn't buy any more stuff because I had so much stuff. So it really was a really good transition point for me because what it did is it took me back to looking at my prices of my items because I wasn't selling as much stuff, so stuff was not going down. It was just still piling up, right? I was acquiring more than I was selling, so therefore the pile just kept growing. So I was able to really be forced into looking at my prices of my items, the quality of my items, to making sure that things move, right? Making sure they're priced to move. Do not get attached to these things. Get the money, spend the money on something, get the item, sell it, take the money, and just repeat the process. Okay, guys. But back to the storage. We got the storage unit. It ended up being almost 15-minute drive away from my house where I was currently doing everything. Shipping, listing. I was doing it all from there and it was working great, so I didn't have the space anymore. Okay, so we did the storage unit thing for quite some time. We ended up filling the whole storage unit. I also had my shed full. I had the second bedroom half full because the other half was used for shipping, and it was just a mess, right? So, yeah, it was great for me to have one location originally where I was working out of, but it really does limit you. So, you really got to think ahead about storage even before you start. Okay, so I'm going to start this resale business, right? So, okay, well, I have the money to buy the stuff. I have the computer and the lights and the phone to list the stuff. Where am I going to put this stuff after I list it, right? So it's just something that you really want to think about because this stuff can catch up. It can come up on you quick, right? Before you know it, you got another, a whole bedroom full of stuff and your wife's nagging you to get rid of it. Yeah, it gets stressful. So just think about that. So the storage has to be conducive to how fast and how big and how much you want your business to grow, but it also needs to be convenient as well. The storage unit, it was not convenient at all. It was very inconvenient. I had to drive 15 minutes to pick up one or two items that sold. I might have two more at my shed. So I was going to multiple places where I had things stored and bringing them back to ship. So that also added a lot of time out of my day as well. Fast forward to now, we have this location and we just store everything here. Okay, so it's worked out great for me. So having the two locations, work and home, is what works for me. So just to recap, guys, we're talking about making your 8 hour day into a 4 hour day, right? That's a great goal to have, right? So you really want to cut as much time out of your day doing these things as you can. And I'm not saying sacrificing quality and stuff like that, and doing it to a point where your business suffers, because that's obviously not what I'm saying. But you really gotta just maximize your time, because otherwise this shit gets so overwhelming, man. There's been days where I wanted to quit, just throw my hands up because it is a lot to manage. I do have my wife's help, but this is my thing, and it's always been my thing, and it's been a lot of weight to carry on my shoulders and very overwhelming at times. So now that I have things down to a better science and a more efficient process, it's been a lot more manageable, and that's really what I want for you guys, right? A lot of people don't really think about that stuff ahead of time, and because I know I didn't, I definitely didn't. I've always been a fly by the seat of my pants guy, right? I have this vision. I can see what I want. I can see where I want this to go. And I know that I can take steps to get there. And that's how I operate. And then I cross bridges as I reach them. So if that works for you, great. Just be ready to be overwhelmed a lot, and be able to make decisions on the fly and just roll with things, okay? But if you are a planner, plan ahead, man. Have all that stuff already planned out. So when you do get to that bridge, you've already been thinking about that bridge. You've seen pictures of it. You've heard stories about that bridge. You're just ready for that bridge, okay? So when you get to it, you're just like, whatever. And you can move on to the next thing. Okay, guys? That's going to be it for today's video. We're just keeping it simple. I'm sharing my experience with you guys in hopes that you just take one or two things and it helps you in your resale journey. If you guys wouldn't mind, we are new to YouTube. Okay, we're not a new business, but we are new to YouTube. hit the subscribe button for us, hit a like on the video, leave us a comment, let us know how we're doing. Please, constructive criticism, you know, nobody really likes criticism, even when it's constructive, but I'm telling you right now, I need it. Okay, guys, I really do. So if you could do me that favor, that'd be great. We will see you next time. I'm going to release probably 2 or 3 videos a week, so stay tuned for more. See you guys.